morning, good afternoon, good evening, good whatever it is, wherever you are. My name is Katie O, excuse my thumb, and this is Moon Mama Musings. Welcome back to my living room for another energy people for today, the 7th of November, 2021. As I felt into the energy, I got this very strong sense of like a powwow or a meeting of the minds or a gathering. But when I first, actually, that's a lie. It wasn't strong at first. I got this sense of it, and it was like, no, 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 no. So it's a strong urge, but it's also an equally kicked back aversion. I believe that we are undergoing some sort of a bit of a flow where we're feeling like we need to do things that kind of scare the shit out of us. Yeah, there's some sort of an energetic exchange, whether it be a conversation or an activity or a mindset or something that you know you have to, but you really are not wanting to. Yeah. I believe we were also having some sort of realization today. We're realizing a lot about this whole like, okay, it's possible to equally know with all of my heart that I need to do this thing, but also have just as much knowing that it's going to make me super uncomfortable and I'm not going to enjoy it. Or it's going to challenge me. You might not enjoy it, but it's going to be challenging. And this is something that like maybe we didn't really want to acknowledge for some time, I'm feeling. With Mercury now in Scorpio, communication is kind of the theme of the coming weeks. And communication doesn't just necessarily have to be with actual words. It can be just, like I said, energetic exchanges. So it can be, thought processes within yourself. It can be relationships with people. It can be your health. It can be technological issues or travel. But either way, it's things that like we got to acknowledge now, and we actually like we've always kind of known, but it's time to like fully bring them into our full conscious self. We have three aspects that we're talking about today. First and foremost, the moon in the sign of Sagittarius is squaring Neptune. And I got this kind of idea that you're having some clarity about things that challenge your emotions, right? Um, we're dealing right now in this moon through Sagittarius with the way that we feel about our goals and our aiming for what we're searching for. And we can be having strong themes of looking at the way that it affects the greater whole of things instead of just looking at ourselves. We've been needing to focus in on ourselves for some time, but right now I'm really feeling like we're taking we're zooming out a little bit, and we are considering the greater picture of things. It's maybe kind of, I believe that this aspect is kind of making you look into illusions that you've allowed yourself to live in a certain way. You might have clung to these illusions for some sort of comfort, which isn't a bad thing when you are in a healing phase, but I believe that you've all come through a certain sense of um, accomplishment, let's say, that is taking you out of that need to look within and start making you feel more and more capable of interacting in order to further your healing. So what have I got here? You kind of had the hints as to the fact that they needed to be addressed, but we're still very, very aware that we're clinging to something. Yeah. The moon is also sextiling Jupiter. And this is kind of like these realizations that we're having are really expanding us. Remember, expansion isn't always comfortable. It can be beautiful. It can be gorgeous, but it can also have some challenging effects to it. Healing is not always pretty. And with this sextile, I believe that they are kind of focusing or highlighting the effect that just because the sextile is here, just because it is a harmonious, beautiful energy, it doesn't mean that it might not necessarily make you feel a bit uncomfortable as it's happening at the same time as this square with Neptune. I also believe that whatever this realization is, it is expanding our capacity to heal. It's almost like we reach some sort of a blockage at a certain point, and it was a subconscious blockage for the most of you. And it's being cleared right now, but that blockage was keeping you from being able to make progress on your personal healing process. And now that we've got Mercury and Mars and Sun in sort of like freer energies for themselves, it's almost like this blockage clearing out makes us even more capable of healing things that we maybe once didn't really want to deal with. stuff that we were once brushing under the carpet, we feel more and more and more and more ability to effectively address these situations. And this can manifest in very different ways. I mean, Jupiter is the planet of expansion, but it is one that has a very unique, it's like, you know, I've talked about this last week, is that Jupiter has the red spot. So it has like a very distinctive feature that's unique to it, that stirs and shakes, but in this beautiful growth kind of a way. So I believe that we're maybe, with this sextile, Jupiter and the moon, this blockage clearing has been done in a bit of a different way, in a bit of a unique way, and it's actually helping us become very, very authentic and help us grow and expand in order to put our best foot forward, I heard. The third aspect I want to talk about is the moon in opposition with Black Moon Lilith. This is a push and a pull, for sure. But it's almost like an internal push and a pull where it's not necessarily like, oh, one option is bad and one option is good. It's almost like a Black Moon Lilith is making us look at things and then showing us the implications of how it fits us and how it also affects the exterior. So Black Moon Lilith helps us cope with our shame. And shame is a bit of the root of sort of maybe our blockages that we've been experiencing, I'm hearing. So maybe we've kind of been hiding things about ourselves because we're worried about the way they're going to be perceived. And it has a lot to do with us acknowledging our own accountability for stuff. So with us acknowledging our accountability is maybe we are, for one, looking at the way this thing that we squashed down was it was making us not fully effective at being our true self, at putting ourselves out there, at being authentic and living in our integrity. But at the same time, we also know how it affects, like, we see how it affects our interior world, but now we're actually able to see how it affects our exterior world as well. And how it influences the people around us to treat us in a certain way, right? If we're, I heard, if we're withholding energy, then people feel it and kind of don't trust us as much as we would like them to. Not that we aren't trustworthy, but if we're able to lie to ourselves, and we set the precedence that others can lie to us as well, or that if we're able to withhold information with regards to things that we feel ashamed about, then other people may feel inclined to treat us the same way. And with this strive to be authentic through Scorpio, with this strive to transform and be reborn in an aligned fashion, we don't have time for beating around the bush, and we don't have time for just doing things in ways that don't make our heart sing. And it's almost like before you thought, okay, well, I'm doing all of this growth about all of these aspects of myself, but like, you know, I can just leave this one aside, you know, like I don't have to deal with that yet. And it's like, it's all okay, yeah, fair enough, priorities, like one step at a time, but like it's time now to truly face these things that maybe we were pushing to the side and saying not yet, and actually really get to the matter, get to the heart of the matter. I heard heart of the matter. Interesting. I'm fiddling with the phone a lot today. Okay, I'm going to get you a card of the day from the Antique Anatomy Tarot. Let's see what we have to deal with today. All right, we've got two, the Chariot and Temperance. Oh boy, my friends. Two major arcana coming out. There are big things happening in your life right now. And it has to do with the slow cooking of some sort of game plan to move forward. The slow cooking of alignment. The incubation of ideas with regards to our sense of home for a lot of you. I also want to bring up the imagery of these two cards together. First of all, look at the shapes of these two cards. They are extremely similar. See, we've got the S shape of these two spines with the skulls on them, and we've got this scythe. And I think it's interesting as well because we've got these two skulls, and then we have this one brain. So, like, we know that when we move forward, there has to be collaboration, but we also understand that there are periods where we need to stop and wait and influence solely what we can. Yeah, we can only change our own thought processes. Even if there are other people at play with regards to forward motion, we need to be responsible for the cooking of our own thoughts, the cooking of our own ideals. Um, yeah, that's really interesting imagery. They're also like the way that the flowers are in different places, right? When we're dealing with ourselves, there might be a little bit more empty space around us. But when we start bringing in more factors, then we start getting polarity energies, right? A black and a red rose. Black roses being about sort of this um, mucking through the shadows kind of a vibe, whereas the red roses for me are about like heart-centered growth and beauty and things like that. They're yeah, yeah, yeah. Um, Also, this looks like it's scythe, right? But when you look closer, it's actually two hands. So this really does show me that we have our, again, the ability to change our own mindsets, the ability to manipulate our own thoughts. Oh my God, yeah. Okay, so under the deck, if we weren't going, oh wow, two major arcana already. Well, hey, there's a third one. We've got the star. The star was under the deck. We talked about the healing. Black Moon Lilith came up and was very present, and I believe that this is very much an energy that represents Black Moon Lilith right here. The star, the chariot, and temperance. Now we have things to heal so that we can cook up this plan to move forward in alignment. And the star also being about our North Star, our destiny, the things that we strive for. I think that that's really, really, really beautiful energy. Okay, let's pull from the bag of tricks. Today, it is short and sweet, my friends. They have been lately getting more and more honed in on the energy of the messages, and they are really, really undeniably clear. So I feel like there's less kind of extrapolation and less kind of like I have to talk out a lot of the thoughts sometimes, because I think for a long time we were in an energy of very, 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 very strong confusion. And a lot of you guys had a lot of divergence in your thought processes. And right now, well, also because your particular situations were very, very different. But right now there is some sort of a convergence, and there is sort of like there's been a thinning of the noise, like the quieting the noise, and it's easier for me to tap into these energies really strongly. Okay, speed up and gratitude. All right, so you're going through a process right now, and if you're unsatisfied with the way that it's progressing and the speed at which it's progressing, and you're hoping to have gifts sooner than maybe later, let's say, the surefire way to sort of get into alignment with this energy and kind of move it along more quickly. Chariot vibes came out here, so you do have the capacity to speed up this healing. I'm hearing. I mean, Temperance, the Star, and the Chariot, yeah, that is very a strong message of you can change this yourself. You can speed up this healing, but make sure that you're being grateful. Gratefulness is definitely a key to being able to integrate the full nature of all the changes that you've made in order to heal yourself. Anger and go within. All right, some of you guys are suffering with some issues that elicit great anger, that bring up strong, bubbling, passionate emotions, and they're not productive for you. Yeah, you've got extreme frustration about something that is holding you back. It's stopping your forward energy, and they're calling you to when you do encounter these moments of volatility and outburst, to slow down and connect back in, because when you do that, then you're able to more readily, how do we say this, debunk the you're able to more effectively debunk the sort of unnecessary energies that lead you to frustration and anger. Yeah. Prepare and doubt cancels abundance. All right. So you are preparing for some sort of great abundance, but they are saying that there's no room in your bags for this self-doubt. There's no room in your bags anymore or in your space anymore for self-destructive energies, especially with regards to self-talk. Self-talk has been something that's come up a lot lately with Mercury. Also, keep in mind, Mercury going into Scorpio, we're going to be dealing with communications exterior, but there's also still this aspect of interior talk that we have to deal with. And if some of you guys really beat the hell out of yourself in your own mind, when things don't go your way, you're really like oh, it's your fault and you've done this and you're inadequate and that you deserve this. That's if you find yourself justifying other shitty answers or shitty actions towards you, then there is some sort of doubting thing that you've got to deal with. It's baggage. I'm hearing it's not part of your overnight bag that you go to. Like, you want to travel light these days. I'm hearing, and these big heavy suitcases, they don't suit you anymore. Not your fault. And mantra. Here you go. Like I said, it's like you're blaming yourself for some things when people present challenging situations to you, and you need to set some sort of a mantra with regards to these resistances that remind you that you don't control other people's actions. You don't control other people's emotions. And when you are living authentically, people are going to be challenged by it. And if you do feel challenged by other people's reactions to yours, you just have to know that it's not your fault. You should not be penalized for being happy or being in a state of healing or being in a state of even needing to cut people out of your life in order to better serve yourself. Whatever it is, it's not your fault that people are feeling a certain way. Yeah. There's also this aspect for some of you that the universe is kind of like presenting you some really big challenges right now, and you are like, you're saying, oh, well, it's no wonder I get this punishment. And you're like, really berate yourself. And it's like, it's not your fault. It's really not your fault. Some of you guys, very specifically, inner child issues with regards to a divorce or parting of families or parting of ways of something from your very, very young childhood. And you still struggle to accept the fact that you didn't have some sort of direct influence in this separation. But it's not your fault. You have to remember, it's not your fault. It's not your fault. With this mantra, this is something that you're going to have to repeat to yourself several times, and you have to find a creative way, I'm hearing, to do so, because um, it's almost like you've tried just the route of telling it to yourself, but you need to find some sort of a ritual that reminds you that obviously you wouldn't be inviting in negative energy unless you had a reason for the negative energy to point something out with your own healing. Immersion and patience. All right, guys, this is the temperance energy again. Is there is some sort of something that you have to dive deep within, and they're showing me Black Moon Lilith again. They're saying there's something to do with your shame here, that you need to be patient with yourself and really dive deep, because it's so ingrained in your being that it must be. You really have to go deep. You really have to go far, and you really have to be brave. I'm hearing, because it's going to get dark really quickly, and you've got to go way past the line where the light doesn't exist anymore. This is something that, like, it would be around for so long in your existence that you would, like, not even realize that you're doing it to a certain degree. It's something that you've been indoctrinated almost with since childhood. And it could be something that you picked up by observation of a parent, or just societal norms. But either way, this is really, 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 really in there deep, and you're going to have to really immerse yourself when you encounter these anger issues. You're gonna have to dive really, 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 really deep, to figure out what it is exactly that's creating this blockage. What it is exactly that you've been keeping your that you've been deluding yourself about. I'm hearing, but I mean, some of you, that's strong words. Beating around the bush and sweeping under the carpet kind of deal. What you've been avoiding. It's time to take accountability, my friends, and the transformations won't allow you to move forward unless you take accountability for your own actions. But that's why we're here, right? We're trying to be better every day, and yeah. So baby steps. All right, my friends, I'll see you tomorrow. Until then, I'm sorry for anything you're going through if I've made you feel a certain way. Thank you for being a beautiful being and lending your energy to this circuit that I hold so dear. Thank you to your guides, my guides, the ascended masters, angels, whatever energies were involved in finding us these clear, concise messages for our greatest good whenever we may find them, whether it's right now or in the near or distant future. I love you to the moon and stars and to infinity and beyond and back, and I accept this, and I hope you do too. But if not, no biggie. Catch you next time.